up. We gon' make some moves tonight, yeah, stand up. Got something to prove tonight, so stand up. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright. We ain't gonna stall, never stop. We gon' make it all till the top. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright.
Happy New Year and welcome to 2026 already. My name is Scott Schertzen with Streampunk Soccer, and joining me as always is the dynamic Davi. We are talking NYCFC today, New York City Football Club 2026, and their New Year's resolutions. Can't believe the year was already over. Can't believe the season's over, and I cannot believe another season's like right in front of us. But as we get into that, first of all, Davi, how the heck are you, man?
Doing good. End of the 2025 and into 2026 now. So, everything went by pretty fast, and with the schedule change coming in the next year, that end of the season and then that season in front of you is just going to get a little bit shorter.
Sure, I'm looking forward to. We can talk about that, but I'm definitely looking forward to that whole change and the 14-game season. But obviously, let's start right out of the gate here. Word came down the pipe. The team called me right before the press conference that Justin Hack was in fact leaving to go to the LA Galaxy on a 1-year deal with a team option for his second year. It is a known fact also, I think at this point, that he took less money from the Galaxy to go there. He was offered a much bigger contract with NYCFC, and the numbers were not disclosed, but he went west to join Jacob Glesnes and join an LAFC team that's only 1 year removed from an MLS Cup final. So my first question to you is, what are your thoughts on that deal, and what do you think Todd Dunavant's going to be able to do going forward to try and plug that hole?
Well, first and foremost, he's got to get here first. I mean,
let me clarify this. He was working. He did call Justin Hack. He did actually do recruiting work before officially starting. So he was working during the last couple of weeks, in this case, to try and save this deal. So he didn't just sit there and wait till January 1st. He's been at this. So that's, I don't know how heavy, but I know for a fact he was there for that. So anyway, sorry.
Is he already in the New York area? Is he already east? Oh, wow.
I don't know for sure if he's in the New York area. I know, like I said, his contract doesn't officially started January 1st, but
wherever he is, he's definitely making calls already.
Yeah. I mean, this is a Zoom world anyway, but but he tried actively to try and save Justin Hack. He called him. He did all this kind of stuff. So he was not on the clock necessarily, but he was on the clock.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. The tough blow. NYCFC started all 34 games in the regular season. Essentially kind of played almost every minute of the season. So a really big player for our team and in the rotation. That's a starter we're going to have to replace now. I mean, I think Todd Donovan knew he was going to have a busy offseason coming into 2026 with New York City Football Club. But I think New York City Football Club was going to have a busy offseason anyway, regardless of who was here, whether it be David Lee or Todd. We knew some changes had to be made. We knew there were going to be changes. And, thankfully, we don't have to deal with the uncertainty of filling in the head coaching position now that Pascal's been here for a year, and everyone knows how he operates, and he's already acclimated to the league, and he's already had a full season under his belt, bringing us to one game within the final. I feel good about Pascal being here, and whether the players that they're going to bring in or the players that they're looking at right now, because it's CFG, they definitely have a short list of players already. Players they already scouted for us. I mean, in CFG, they're never not looking at players to bring in. We just gotta wait and see. The year just started, 2026, and I'm pretty sure within the next few weeks we should hear a little bit more rumblings of who we want to bring in. But that's definitely a big role that we're gonna have to fill in on top of a center mid and a striker. Regardless, again, as I said at the start, no matter who the sporting director was, they were going to have a tough and busy offseason ahead of them.
Yeah. Now, actually, that opens up an interesting question, a little off topic here. But you mentioned, obviously, we're going into year 2 with Pascal Janssen. What do you think the first year taught him about soccer and coaching in soccer here in the U.S., that he can take into year 2?
I think definitely working with travel. I mean,
Yeah.
the travel is like very the Europeans underestimate travel in the U.S. I mean, L.A. to New York is a 5.5, 6 hour flight on a plane, and that usually gets you from I'm not sure where. I think Barcelona to maybe somewhere in the east. I don't know.
That would be, I was going to say London or France, like from say the New York City area, Newark or LaGuardia to
Yeah,
France, to like Paris or London would be about 5 to 6 hours.
driving, right? Driving wise.
Flight.
Oh, flight. Okay.
Yeah. So in
Yeah.
this,
So
yeah, the flight itself, if you're flying from, say, Newark or LaGuardia, flying across the Atlantic over to Europe, to one of those two countries and one of those two cities, that is about the same length of flight would be from, say, Newark to LA.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's coached in the Netherlands for most of his career. So it's a smaller country compared to the United States. So they don't really have to travel by plane as much as we do in America, I would assume. And I mean the two teams that made the final, Vancouver and Miami, those are the furthest cities apart from each other in the league. So
About 4,500 miles, give or take, maybe
oh,
at least 4,000 out there.
yeah, you're going from South Florida to BC and Vancouver.
Yeah.
So I think the climates as well, the climate change, obviously for now and going into 2026 will be the final season of going from a spring to fall calendar. So I think definitely the heat, it doesn't really get as hot in Europe as it does here in the United States. I mean, you see German teams in the Club World Cup in the summer, their players went to the locker room and drank water to watch the game just because they didn't want to be out there in the heat. And they're going to have to do it again in the upcoming summer for the World Cup across all of North America, as the climate is very different. And I think also just the artificial pitches too, ours included, even though it's mostly natural grass. I mean, just the field and like the dimensions of it all, it's very, very unique. And yeah, I think Pascal is, with the way he wants to play, it's kind of a little bit difficult because it's a very narrow pitch compared to the pitches that he's used to in Europe and across the league and in soccer specific stadiums. Just with his style of play, he wants to have a little bit more space. So that's maybe a little bit of an adjustment that he had to make going through the 2025 season. And then, of course, the artificial pitches in New England and Atlanta and Seattle. I mean, you're guaranteed at least 3 games on an artificial pitch in the Eastern Conference with Charlotte, Atlanta, and New England, all away games. So it's very difficult to kind of adjust to that and for the players. And, dude, I just think it's America. He had to get acclimated to the United States. We're very different to Europe. And, I think the heads at MLS, they see that. And that's why they're trying to implement the changes that they want to make. And the schedule is definitely a part of that. They really want to, kind of be a little bit more Europeanized when it comes to the game. But it's also, you have to kind of balance it out with the American side. You want to get the American, average viewer. But you also need to have a little bit of the traditions that they have in Europe, so they have to find the perfect balance. So I just think coming to the MLS, it's a completely different beast. And he said it before in his press conferences when he was brand new to the club. So, but I think he embraced the challenge, and I think he did really well down the stretch. So I take my hat off to him because it's never easy coming over from Europe to Major League Soccer.
It's funny because you mentioned that, because it got me thinking about Hannes Wolf year 1 to year 2. And I know you and I have talked about that, where he struggled with adapting. And I would imagine even like head coaches have that struggle as well, because it is a new environment, it is a new adjustment. And obviously the scheduling itself is also very, very difficult on top of it. And admittedly, he was not as familiar with NYCFC across the board, initially, which obviously he is much more now. So you might have something there where the fact that actually he might be better acclimated this time around. Now, just want to mention something. It was actually sort of funny when you mentioned about like the pitches here in the U.S. Earlier last year, about July, Premier League had their summer series here at MetLife Stadium, and Everton manager David Moyes, he went off on the pitch at MetLife Stadium. He trashed. I had the press conference, but one of the things he said is like, "This is not Premier League. This is American grass, and the World Cup is going to be held on quote American grass." And honestly, I think it's going to be great watching the rest of the world complain about
it. I mean, it's what happens when you have NFL stadiums with turf.
Yeah.
Even the NFL people, even no matter what your association is with American football, people kind of want turf out. They want the natural grass installed in the stadiums permanently. Sure. But it's very tough for other teams to kind of just have the grass as is year round, just because of different climates and everything like that. And then obviously if your stadium hosts multiple events, the grass is going to get ripped apart even more. Crap, so yeah. It's going to be very difficult for other NFL teams. So that's why they have to that's why they put the turf in for cost efficient measure. And again, because FIFA doesn't want to miss out on coming into the U.S. For the World Cup, and obviously the money that they're going to make here with now the expanded format, that they have to do it this way.
And it's a smart move, obviously from a soccer standpoint, to see to showcase this, because there is growing popularity. You're seeing more and more kids with soccer jerseys now at the under age of 12 than you ever did, because of the growth of the sport itself. So even with the MLS Cup final, they pulled in, from what I was hearing, they pulled in about 4.6 million viewers worldwide. Not phenomenal, but certainly better than what they've done previously. Now, granted, a lot of that was the Messi factor. If he wasn't playing, and that was, in fact, NYCFC, I think you would have drawn maybe 1.1, 1.2 million at most. But because it's Messi being Messi, everybody's tuning in worldwide. But when it comes to NYCFC, you have to look at also what happened last year. During that press conference, Pascal Janssen, after that 5-1 loss to Miami, he used the word naive repeatedly. Now he wasn't really clear, as far as I can recall, as to who was naive, the players, himself, or yes. But what do you think he's learned from that? How many times do you think he's watched that match since then?
Probably 2 or 3 times. Maybe the season ended about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So maybe once a week, and he probably took notes on the on how the game went. So I do think it's a bit of both from both the players and himself. Pascal's a bit of he's gonna tell it as it is. I mean, the Dutch are notorious for just telling the truth and saying as it is, just being blunt about it. So I think he meant himself and maybe some of the players, but I think mainly more on himself. I don't think he's the type of guy to go out in the media and bash players. Say like a Mourinho, where what he did with Pogba and Shaw at his time at United, as an example. But I think we had him at 2-1 and going into the second half, and we kind of just attacked them. And Rocco Rios Novo came up big in a couple of occasions, and unfortunately, shortly after that, they go ahead and score the third one. They really ran away with it after that.
That was the nail in the coffin, pretty much.
Yeah, that was the nail in the coffin, and I think the players too, because they got played in the mind games, and they paid for it twice in a quick amount of time in the first half. With Tadeo Allende scoring 2 goals, not that far away from each other, and that came after Maxi Falcone and Maxi Morales had a clash in the middle of the pitch. And it was a big brawl in the middle. and I think they kind of switched off from set piece defending with the Alba with that cross, and on top of that, fresh in their mind was the fight that they just had in the middle of the field. So I think that also as well with them, just going through the motions in the heat of the moment, and then you turn around quickly and the ball's in the back of your own net. So
yeah,
I think it's a bit of both.
Fair. Coming back to this, we got a little off topic, and this is my own fault. But you talk about Justin Hack for a sec again. His departure. What do you think the team does to replace him? Who do you think they bring in? Do you have a choice?
I got no clue, but I think Johnny Shore is definitely going to step up in that role.
There's a great expectation. Yeah, there's expectation he's going to be. They're going to be leaning on him a lot more at 18 years old.
Johnny Shore. I mean, you would assume Keaton Parks is healthy and ready to go on opening day. So Keaton Parks in the midfield, but center back, I think you roll with O'Toole, Gustavo, Thiago Martins, and Tavon Gray as the back four. I think for now in the picture, and I think going into opening day, I think that's going to be the back four that you see, and then Matt Freese in goal. Obviously, that's an undisputed choice in the net.
Run with him as long as you can.
Yeah, so I think that's the defense settled. I do think we need another left back, and definitely another center back as well. Because obviously if one of them gets hurt or gets suspended, Tanasiewicz is there, but he's shaky. He has his moments where,
and he has a yellow card, red card history himself too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you're definitely going to need another body. I mean, who knows? Maybe they give Max Murray. Did they pick up his contract going into this year?
I think they did, actually,
because he got drafted. Man, he came from Vermont, and he was a highly recruited and highly rated talent coming out of the draft last year. So
through option through 2028.
Yeah, so I think they might give him a chance and a run at at maybe becoming that center back partner with Martins. But at the worst, I think he'll be a rotation player, a depth piece. I mean, he was highly touted coming out of Vermont, so and they won the national championship the year we drafted him. So and given Pascal's track record with young players, I don't think it's too out of the blue that he might give Max Murray a go at center back.
Well, obviously they're going to have to do something here because that was a heck of a loss, and it's putting a lot. I do believe that they were leaning on Johnny Shore a lot, and the expectation is that Johnny can pick up the slack. You got to hope he can. I think he's ready, at least I would say within a year, definitely ready, but to become that leader that I think they were looking to build. Tavon, I think they'll be looking for a leadership role out of him a bit more because he has always been a leader in this case. But there's a lot of questions on both sides of the pitch with this team. Yeah. And obviously Alonso Martinez and Pereira, Malachi Jones, if he can come back, I'd like to see Malachi come back.
I think he should be ready for the start of the year.
He told me he was going to be ready for October. And
25, right? Of 25.
2025. Sorry, 2025. So I thought maybe he'd be there for the regular season finale. Didn't pan out. Maybe wishful thinking, or maybe there's a setback. I'm not sure. But that team could benefit from his speed if he can get that back up to 100%, because he's missed the last year and a half now.
I think he should be back for 26. I mean, it's been a long time ago since the injury. I mean, we all hope it went well in his recovery, and we could definitely benefit from a player like Malachi Jones coming back, as well as in leadership. I think no doubt in my mind, this going into this year, had Hawk decided to stay, I think he would have been a captain, 100%.
Very possible, yeah. I mean, Tavon was picked up for another year. I'm sorry, Thiago. I'm sorry, I meant to say Thiago. Which also begs the question: if they knew Justin Hack was going to stay, were they going to pick up Thiago's deal? Because they picked up that option. That's a pretty heavy option there. So you wonder maybe a little bit if it's one of those things that that hand was forced. And sometimes when a player is ready to leave, you get nuances in the clubhouse during the season that you get a vibe that this person's on their way out. Just the non sequiturs, the little things that they say along the way. So I have to wonder if maybe they knew, even in October, that, barring something unusual, he was going to be gone. Again, it surprised me a little bit that deal was only for 1 year with an option. Somebody, might have been you, said that the theory is that maybe he's betting on himself for Europe, which is certainly plausible. But that is a massively improved LA roster between him and Glesnes. That team is really trying to shuffle up the past. But surprised me a little bit that he took less money to go west.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just wanted a different experience. Maybe he wanted to, kind of test himself outside of his hometown and, going over to LA. They have a really good team. They, didn't have the best of years in 2025, but due to injury and everything. But I think with Ricky Pooch being back, and a revamped roster now, I mean, they were really playing against the cap last year. They were really pinned and what they could do in the transfer windows, and so they had to get rid of a lot of players that helped them win the cup. And now that they have a little bit of salary cap room to kind of play with, they're going out and signing these players like Hack and Glesnes. And with Ricky Pooch, I think now fully healthy, this is going to be a tough opponent because we play them week 1.
I know. How funny is that?
Our very first game is against Justin Hack. So,
and also keep in mind, not just against Justin Hack, but Justin Hack's knowledge. He has played with the team he's facing for years. He knows all the little nuances. He knows all the mannerisms that Matt Freese has, that Raul Gustavo and all the rest of these guys do. Nico, he knows what these players will do. So he himself comes in as a human NYCFC playbook against his old team.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough week 1. I mean, we haven't won an opening match since 2018.
True.
And we were very close last year, beating Miami with 0 DPs. We were so close to it. Had they not added 11 minutes to the game, we would have won. But it's going to be very tough. It's going to be a headline going into the opening day of the 2026 season. So, we'll just have to wait and see. And obviously, at the other side of the ball on offense, we don't know what they're going to do transfer wise because Alonso's out until the end of the or middle to the end of the year. Perea, we have no idea when he's going to be back. I know we gave him a contract extension, so he's going to be back with the club, but we don't know when he's going to be back on the pitch. And I don't know. Winger, maybe you need another winger. Maybe that's where Malachi Jones comes in and gives us another body up there. And
also,
who knows?
Second year, so Nico might, they're going to lean on him a little bit more.
Yeah. Nico will have a first full season in MLS, so that's definitely going to help. No matter who the striker is going to be, whether you want to play him as a 10 or if you want to play him as a false 9. And everyone's been with the team for another year now. So even though we're the youngest, one of the youngest rosters in the league, we have another year of the core being together.
Sure.
So we're not really heading into this 2023 kind of situation where everyone's leaving and it's going to be a brand new core of players and they've never played before under a new head coach and Nick Cushing back then. And now that 3 years on from that, it's a very different feeling. Everyone's been together. Everyone knows how we operate. And then our coach has been here for a full season now. So, it's kind of just, all right, we're going to have to find the pieces that fit. And once we get rolling, I think we'll be in a good place.
Fair. Now, looking at the schedule right out of the chute, obviously they got the LA Galaxy on that Sunday. I guess that's a Sunday. Is Super Bowl Sunday on the 15th this year?
February. Let me see. Let me pull.
Because NYCFC has 2 back-to-back Sunday games, which is kind of curious to me a little bit. And I wonder if that's
I think it's February 15th. Yeah, February 15th.
Okay. Yeah, because actually,
when do we start? February 22nd?
22nd on a Sunday. And
22nd in the first back-to-back.
Yeah,
because it's
two
LA and
back-to-back
Philly.
Sundays. Both road games, both tough opponents too, by the way, because that second game's Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And
they themselves have been decimated, but you can't underestimate a Philly team. I mean, have you seen like the predictions from a year ago that nobody expected this team to even make the playoffs, and they went out and won the Supporter Shield with 60+ points?
I predicted 7th place, which was higher than some, and it was still dead wrong. There were some people that are highly affiliated with that team that were predicting 9th or 10th, and Supporter Shield is nothing to sneeze at. Granted, a disappointing loss there the way it went down, but again, there was something to build off there with honestly a growing roster. You got Kevin Sullivan for I think one more year before he goes to Europe, so you can really start to build something at least for this next year and make another run. But,
yeah, 100%. But they're notoriously underspending, but they find good pieces even for the value and for the money that they spend. They don't really spend a lot, but they get good players for the money.
Sure. After that, they're playing at home in their home opener on March 7th, a Saturday at 2:30 in the afternoon. Nice little game there, Yankee Stadium against Orlando. But that starts a nice little road trip or a home trip there, because after Orlando, then what do they have? They got Colorado at home, Miami at home, and then St. Louis at home, and that takes you all the way into April already, and then a trip all the way out to Vancouver. So,
yeah, I'm trying to find the schedule here. Oh, here we go. I found it.
Yeah, they have 4 home after the first 2 road games. They have 4 home games, so you got a chance to set the ship a little bit.
And one of them is against Messi in Miami.
Well, Inter Miami, if Messi's playing there.
Yeah,
where's that? Yankee Stadium or is that City?
They'll be Yankee Stadium. They'll be in the Champions Cup, so who knows if they're going to rotate for that game. So
good point there. So actually, that might be a benefit because you can avoid Messi at least for one game.
Who knows? Maybe we'll actually finally beat them.
Yeah, it's been draws and losses all the way through, and that's going to be for some NYCFC fans. It's going to be a revenge game for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the derby this year or last year, with the playoff exit and how we went out, we came out here and we claimed both victories in the series. So it was a revenge game for not just the Citi Field game in May, but also in Red Bull Arena in September.
Now also in this case, and this is a World Cup thing, because of the World Cup, the regular season this year, decision day is November 7th. So that and the MLS Cup final is now mid-December too, which is also going to be something that is going to fatigue a lot of these players. So that's another concern you got to deal with from a World Cup and season-long standpoint, because unlike other seasons, this one's going to be a little bit longer because it's going to run a full 10 months all the way top to bottom.
Do we know the exact day the MLS Cup is going to be?
I think it's the 15th. Yeah, it says latest. I was going to say Gemini AI with their answer of it's going to happen at a time. It's like, thanks, dude. I thought I saw like December 14th.
I'm on the MLS website. MLS is back weekend in Miami.
Decision day November 7th. Yeah, I thought I saw something about that. I mean, in this case here, if decision day is pushed off by a week, one could presume that actually
it says the following decision day will be observe the FIFA window, and it'll be 1 month of uninterrupted MLS Cup playoff action, which culminates in the 2026 MLS Cup on the website. But there's no official date. It says the complete postseason schedule will be announced at a later date. So
maybe I saw something on Reddit as a speculation.
Yeah, I mean, but they did say it's going to be 1 month full of MLS playoffs uninterrupted. So thankfully, we don't have to deal with the annoyance of the international break being in there. And I mean, that international break really fucked us over because we lost Alonso, and it wasn't even at a game that we were in.
Yeah, it screwed them. It screwed over NYCFC there. It screwed over Philadelphia because they had the long layoff and again couldn't get the wheels going, and it cost them much like it did with the Revolution back in 2021. Supporter shield be damned, long layoff will kill you. But the idea of the uninterrupted is huge because this was a bit of an embarrassment for the league when you look at what NWSL and USL did last year, where everything was just 1 week after another. You knew it was regular as clockwork. There was 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, and it's hard to establish a momentum when it's constantly a stop and go. So props to them for fixing that, which I think will help a lot more going forward under the new schedule as well. So
the World Cup break also helps with that as well.
Yeah, which weirdly enough, the World Cup, if you're not playing in the World Cup, you're getting a precursor break to what the MLS schedule is going to be like. Because you have that under the 2027 schedule, you're going to have that new break in between the season. During that off season, and then obviously the 6 week or so break around Thanksgiving, Christmas, and everything. So weirdly enough, the World Cup is giving them some exposure to what that break's going to be like.
Yeah, because you don't come back until mid-July.
Yeah.
So the playoffs or decision day is the 7th. So I would imagine MLS Cup would be either December 5th or December 12th.
Mm-hmm.
In which, you can go into the second week of December with the MLS Cup, and
you can get away with that a little bit.
That's totally okay. Yeah,
as long as the weather's okay.
Yeah, I think any day past the 12th, I think people will start to complain. But I think December 12th is possibly the latest you could play the final, and people would still be okay with it.
I think so. Again, it really comes down to whether. Well, I would say whether the weather's going to be okay, because enter Miami fine in December. If you have a team like Minnesota, you have a team like Vancouver,
New England, New York, it's kind of difficult.
Even here, it can be a little raw. But that's where I think the new schedule is going to be great because
we don't have to worry about Harrison, New Jersey, because they're never going to host it. So,
bird. I was going to say they did get to the MLS Cup Finals a year ago, so give them credit that. But yes, Sports Illustrated field now versus Red Bull Arena. I'm still calling it Red Bull. But I think with the new schedule too, and the way that's going to end up being, I think it's going to be a lot less wear and tear on the players. Once they get through 2027 and everything there, they're going to be acclimated to that schedule of Europe. Players, I think in some ways, actually what it might help them there is the fact that this schedule might actually entice some people to come over. These players are so regimented, so structured, so scheduled with everything that they can just drop right in. One of the problems that happened in 2023 with Lionel Messi is he had hamstring issues because he couldn't adapt to the longer schedule come October, basically it's, August, September, October. Mm-hmm. So as a result, he had hamstring issues that were going on. These players won't have to deal with something like that anymore because finally MLS did what I'm basically calling the best worst option they had, because there's nothing you can really do when you have an MLS league that's across 2 different continents, 5,000 miles in this case, all over the place. That this was the best move that you could make here, and I think I'm excited for it. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the mini league, and I think that they're really trying to show what they can do, and I think MLS is doing the right things overall. I'm excited for them. I really am.
Yeah, me too. I look forward to it. I think I look forward to that first half of 2027 and see how wild that's going to be.
Yeah, like what's going to be fun about it, I mentioned this to Bill, is that it's going to remind me a little bit of what the COVID baseball season was, where you had like a little less than half the games. It was like 60-game season, so every game mattered. And you get these little sleeper teams that get hot at the right time. The Miami Marlins went to the second round of the playoffs during COVID. They had sucked royally, but they caught lightning in a bottle. So I would love to see a team like, we'll say, Montreal, Toronto, or basically teams like this, DC maybe, who suddenly actually get hot at the right time, make a playoff spot and make a run out of it, and go for another trophy.
Or maybe Messi in Miami just wins it again, just because they're that good and they're unstoppable.
It's Messi. It's Inter Miami until it's not. That's that's basically how it is. It's like in the NFL. It's like it's Kansas City Chiefs or it's not until it's not. Which obviously this year is not a factor there. But,
and I don't think it's going to be next year, considering Mahomes is out for essentially all of 26 as well.
Yeah, that's going to be rough there. But yeah, okay. A better example. It's the Dodgers until it's not. That one you got to give me there.
I mean, if you wanted to use NFL, you could have said New England Patriots for the 20-year run that they had.
Well, actually, yeah, that's a great example. But in this case, it's been what, 5 or 6 years since Tom Brady left. 7 years, whatever it is.
5, 6,
something like that. Yeah,
but they got Drake May now, so they're good.
Yeah, I am so jealous of Patriots fans. It's like they had like those 3 years where they sucked. They're like, this is terrible, and now they're back on top again. They won the division. Meanwhile, the Giants are just they can't even lose a game right. You had the chance to get the first pick in the draft. No, we're going to win 34-10. Anyway, I'm getting off topic.
Well, to be fair, Las Vegas essentially just handed us a win.
Dude, they totally did. But it's like we're all counting on a lot. I'm sitting there watching the game. My wife is like, your team is winning. I'm like, I fucking know that. But anyway, back to the point. This is, like I said, there's a lot to be excited about with that 2027 season. But as far as NYCFC goes, there's a lot of questions going into the 2026 season now.
I think another question that we kind of glazed over was Tallis Magno.
Yes.
Does Pascal Janssen convince him to come back?
I kind of want to see him back. It kind of ended badly last time out. I'd like to see. I like resurgent stories. I like stories of people that dropped down and came back up again. And way things went down with Corinthians and everything, the fans I think were more than done with him down there. And NYCFC does need somebody who understands the system at least somewhat, understands the terrain.
Yeah, I have a tip for Pascal: just don't play him at striker.
That was it. That was not a decision by Nick Cushing and or David Lee.
Yeah.
That was a decision that was made above him in this particular case, above them in this case. And boy, did he pay the price on that. So yeah, if they kept him on the wing, feed Nico, feed Alonso when he's healthy, I think that is the natural strength that he has. Also, and this is going to sound weird, but part of the struggle that I think NYCFC has right now is they lack a charisma. And they lack somebody who has like that punch, that personality punch. If you look at Tallis Magno's Instagram following, it's about 3 or 4 times larger than the NYCFC one, because he himself is an influencer just because of his appearance, his look, all of that kind of stuff.
And his dancing.
And he's got like 1.3, 1.4 million Instagram followers. You have to think about it from a business perspective. You bring that back into it. And him reuniting with the team, him at Times Square, doing Times Square related things. It's something that could really make sense from a business standpoint.
Yeah, I would assume that's the DP spot.
Yeah.
Well, like filled out, you can no longer use that spot because Tallis Magno is operating. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you want a DP, you can get him for free. But it's whether Tallis wants to come back or not.
Yeah. He has 1.4 million Instagram followers. NYCFC has 771. So he's doubled the team. And again, I'm sure they're probably looking at this from a higher level standpoint because of the marketing aspect of it. And just the ability to draw attention to to a player like this. I don't know.
I mean, just he was highly touted coming out of Brazil, and unfortunately injuries and obviously the pandemic that all happened, and then he came over to New York, and unfortunately CFG tried to put him in a peg that he couldn't fit in, and hopefully now Pascal and CFG, who knows, maybe CFG allows him to come back and to play him at his natural winger role. And then what happens with Ojeda? What happens with Julian Fernandez? What happens with all these other wingers? What happens with Hannes Wolf? Do you put him back onto the right? Do you play him in the middle?
I would put Hannes on the right. I put Hannes back on the right. I mean, Agustino Ojeda is still only 20 years old, so he's still pretty young in there. Pereira, you've got yourself a few months at least, before he's going to come back. So you got a little window there. But Fernandez,
I could see Fernandez being the odd man out in this situation.
Could be. That is very possible in this case. But again, we're thinking above our pay grade at least a little bit, but it doesn't hurt to look at it anyway.
But I think
I would vote yes, bring him back.
I think it's a valid point to make because they declined his loan decision. Then who knows? Mm-hmm. Maybe he goes out on loan to another team, or maybe he decides to come back and prove his point that he is a good player. He can be lethal on the wing.
He's also a really good guy, basically to talk to. Like I said, there's that charisma that we saw, in the locker room in the mix zone. He didn't read, his English was terrible, but like I said, he had that suave that basically he dressed suave.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things that sort of built in some ways for Times Square.
Well, if you want to use the slang from now, you guess you can call it aura.
That works. Yeah, he, like I said, that's part of it. And that's where I think NYCFC struggles a little bit because they don't have that aura. I mean, Tavon, sure, but Matt Freese is too quiet. I mean, Matt Freese is too zen, to be that guy. I mean, he just was on, I think, with Mike Greenberg, I think last month or something. So he was on
ESPN.
Or ESPN, yeah, I think it was with Greeny, I think it was. But that was more of a U.S. men's national thing versus an NYCFC thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I vote bring him back.
I would say bring him back. Why not? Who knows? Maybe Jovan. I don't think he comes back, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe Pascal talks with him and maybe convinces him to come here because we're in a desperate need for a striker. Maybe this is finally the chance he can come back and score the goals that he promised us on day one.
Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny if Talles Magno comes back as a striker and starts succeeding? Oh, that would be hilarious. I don't see it happening, but boy, that would be really funny.
Yeah, I think that'd be hilarious. But I think they go outside of MLS to get a striker. Even though I would go for Benteke, just give him a one year contract and see what happens in the 12 months that you give Benteke. But it all depends if he wants to come back to MLS or wants to go back to Europe or just call it quits.
Yeah, he is up there. He's what, 33, 34?
35.
35, okay. Yeah, 35-year-old forward's a little rough there.
But I mean, it's only a 1 year deal and he's MLS proven. So
sure,
why not just come up the turnpike and see what you got left in the tank?
Yeah, it's not that. It's only a 4 hour. It's only a 4 hour drive. That's not too bad there. I would take a flyer on him. Sure, why not?
Or maybe Mikel Ure from Philadelphia Union. I think he's on a free contract. The Danish striker. If he hadn't, I don't know if he's re-signed with Philly already, but if he hasn't, why not give him a call and see if he wants to come up?
I think he's still a free agent right now. Yeah,
2 or 3 hour drive up the turnpike and score the goals. He wasn't always the main man in Philly, but he could score goals.
Yeah, the only thing I have right now is that they're in negotiations for a new deal with Philadelphia. That doesn't mean anything, but they're talking. But
I mean, it could be like a Justin Hack situation where he just declines it and decides to go somewhere else.
I mean, right now he spent the last 4 years with Philadelphia there, 119 matches, 38 goals overall, plus 18 assists. So he had a goal contribution pretty much every other game.
It's not bad.
Mostly as a starter, some sub, 3/4 starter. So
yeah, why not? I mean, if he doesn't want to go to Philly and you want to bring him in, well, why not take a flyer on him?
And that would be one of those things that an NYCFC punch right there too.
Yeah,
because you took away a staple of, and again, I mean, Philadelphia is blowing up their team in a lot of different ways as well. So, but that would be a little bit of a diss on top of it. That would be kind of funny, I think.
Yeah, and then he just comes back at Subaru Park and then scores a goal.
Boy, if they sign him before the season and suddenly he's playing at the Sub week 2. Damn, that'd be funny. But it remains to be seen. And like I said, there's going to be, I think right now we're in a little bit of a slow period, but I think once things start moving January 10th, maybe January 15th, I think really once camp starts to work and training camp starts to build a little bit.
Yeah, it's usually the 11th. So usually
somewhere in that ballpark, you're going to start seeing a little more movement, I think.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. Right? But like I said, right now we're in the calm before that storm. And we're 7 weeks away from the start of the regular season. Not even counting Coachella.
Yeah. So. And also Maxim Morales, the fact that there's been nothing at this point.
It's funny. But this is a sign of being old, by the way. I saw his post on Facebook today, because he's 38 on Facebook, and he had it in Spanish, just another day. And it was just him on some grassy field somewhere as opposed to on his stories, and it didn't say anything. It was just like just another day, and I don't know how to interpret that.
I don't know. Maybe he gears back up for another year. Maybe he closes out the Yankee Stadium era with us.
Closes out the Yankee Stadium era, takes a leadership job of some kind, or a liaison of some kind of a gig. I mean, listen, if he wants a job with NYCFC, he's going to get a job with NYCFC. They will find a job for him somewhere.
I think they'll just make a title up for him,
dude. Right, assistant to traveling secretary, Maxi Morales.
Maxi Morales.
Exactly. Yeah, his title just Maxi Morales is his title. But yeah, I think they'll find something because he has done his bid for King and Country 1,000 times over with that team.
100%.
But
I think whether he's on the field or not, he'll be with us at the day one of Etihad Park.
Absolutely. He'll be there. I mean, I wonder almost in some ways if you'd pull a David Cone. This might be before your time, but when David Cone was released by the Yankees, his first game of the home opener at Yankee Stadium the following year, he sat in the bleachers with the fans. It was just him and the fans. He bought a ticket for Bleacher Creature and just sat there. I could see Maxie doing something similar to that too, where he lights the smokestacks and then sits in the stands, with his family.
Why not?
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. Within a week or two, we'll definitely see some more movement.
Yeah,
as of right
I'm
now,
excited to see because right now, like I said, it's a little slow. So
it's the end of the holiday season, and people are wrapping up their vacation time, and they're slowly going to go back to work within the next week. So we'll just see what's going to happen.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't really have anything more at this point. I'm not sure if you do.
No, I don't think so. I think we covered all of it, to be honest, at this point.
Sure. Good. I will say, basically, coming back to the LA Galaxy standpoint for one more time, we have LA Galaxy broadcaster Joe Tatino coming on next week. So we'll be recording that probably on Wednesday, and I'll be releasing it Thursday or Friday of next week. So he'll be talking about Justin Hack, Glesnes, and everything else going on with that team as well. So that's something basically, if you want to tune in for NYCFC pain or excitement for LA Galaxy, either one is fine on my side. I'll take the numbers however you want to throw them. But most importantly, in this case, Davi, how can people get in touch with you?
That boy Davi on X. In the Blue Burrows pod, we just recorded a podcast, and it just came out. So go ahead and listen to that. And we'll be back on Goals TV and the Batter Network in 2026, talking ball. So look forward to seeing everybody again in the new year, and we'll to another year of football, and possibly the biggest year of football in American history. So
I think it probably will be.
So yeah,
the last time the World Cup was here, football was barely a footnote, even if that, or I'm sorry, soccer was barely a footnote back in the last World Cup.
Yep. Now that the sport has gained popularity and we have another World Cup, this is going to be the most monumental year in U.S. soccer. Definitely the century.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with that. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Thanks as always. Again, my name is Scott Churchson, Stream Punk Soccer, the Mighty Davi. Appreciate the time. Take care. Thanks. And let us know what you guys want us to talk about too, because that's a big key, because we work for you at the end of the day. Till then, next time, take care and stay awesome.